Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and I want to welcome you to episode number one of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Prior to getting into the content of this podcast, first of all, I want to introduce myself. So this episode is going to be basically a little bit of a story of me, who I am, and how I came to be in business in the first place. So I just wanted this to be a more of a conversational no thing. So more of a get to know Frank Deming type of podcast. In our future podcast, we'll get into some content. But before I get into my story, let me tell you what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be chock full of good strategies of what I've learned over the last 12 years of being in business, of how you as a local business um, can benefit from it. First of all, this is a podcast for local businesses. And when I say local businesses, I'm talking about chiropractors, I'm talking about lawyers, I'm talking about dentists, etc., etc., etc. Med spa companies. So these are strategies that I've collected over time, over the past 12 years, like I said, that has truly worked for myself and for my customers. So I want to share that with you, and that's what this is all about. I'm also going to have um, some guests, people who I'm going to interview. Some of them will be clients of mine. Some of them will be colleagues of mine, people I've worked with, et cetera, et cetera. And some of them will be industry leaders, people who actually are doing this stuff, alongside with me. Well, not alongside with me, but also some of them will be competitors, people who I compete with for business. But in this business, I truly believe there's no such thing as competition. I think if the more that you hang around people that do what you do, the better you will be as a business owner. And I believe a lot of business owners agree with me on that. So, anyway, that's what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be a informational piece, and and I'm really looking forward to helping a lot of you grow your businesses. So, without further ado, let's get into who I am. Again, Frank Deming. They call me the local business guy. Now, I own and operate a business by the name of Local Business Marketing Solutions, which is a lead generation, um, full service lead generation digital marketing agency that focuses on revenue growth for local businesses. That's what we do. Um, Now, the way I came into the scene of being a local business marketing agency owner wasn't a very easy path. So, I am 100% a before owning my own business, I've always been the uh, it- you know the common corporate American person. I and I was always taught you gotta get good grades in school so you can get a good job and you can earn a respectful living. So that was the mantra that I was following, that followed down through my parents, which is something common that everybody goes through. Well, um, as I was climbing up on the ranks of corporate America, I did fairly well. I mean, I worked for a highly um, I worked. I was in a very high profile job. So, and I worked for a government contractor for many years. I was a project manager, an IT project manager, more specific. I was an IT project manager for 18 years. 13 of those 18 years was for a government contractor in the Washington D.C. area. Um, so that was a lot of fun. And 5 of those years, I used to work in the financial district in downtown Manhattan. So 5 of those years, I was a senior IT manager, IT project manager for that, and then the rest of the 13 years for that government contractor. And prior to that, I used to do stuff like help desk. I was a programmer a little bit. So I truly understand technology. I've always been around. What brought me here was I remember is instinctively in 2000. Well, there were two factors that made me launch this business. In 2005, there was a gentleman by the name of Tom Yao who he worked really, really hard for the company. And I remember him telling me that he was getting laid off. And I couldn't believe he was going to get laid off. I mean, this guy was the hardest working guy, other than myself, that I've seen. And and so I told him, hey, don't worry about it. I'm sure they'll find something for you because the company I worked for had a policy where you could where you could look for a job within the company. And long story short, he didn't get hired within 60 days, so he got fired. I mean, he got laid off, and I was shocked. And I started thinking, I was like, wow, that's if they can do that to Tom, they can do that to me. And that kind of freaked me out a little bit. So since it freaked me out, I decided to um, say, what am I going to do? What what will be the deciding factor of me actually you know getting my butt in gear and doing something. And I started digging, digging, digging. I couldn't really find anything. But that was what put the bug in my ear. The kicker, if you will, that made me really launch my business was in 2007. I'm sorry, 2006. Um, the following year, I was on a project, and I remember I was living in Washington D.C. back then, and I remember thinking, oh, I have to go down. I got to go to. I'm going to go to New York for Thanksgiving, and we were working on a government contract, and everything was set for me to go to New York that evening, that Wednesday. You guys know how fun it is to drive on a Wednesday night to to New York or wherever on the day before Christmas. I mean, the day before New Year. I'm sorry, Thanksgiving. I mean, it's a terrible thing. But so I wanted to leave early. I couldn't because I had to work a little late. So my wife and I at the time decided to drive up early in the morning. Well, as I was packing my bags, getting ready to go to New York and take 2 days, I was going to take 2 days, Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving off, then drive back sometime Saturday to DC. I get a call from my boss, and he says that you need to talk to me. And it was like 8 o'clock at night. And he says, "Hey, so I had to tell you, but the government changed the specs, and we need to regroup Friday. This is the day after Thanksgiving to to see what our strategy is going to be, and it's urgent. I mean, they're not changing the deadline, but they're changing the specs, and we got to regroup and re-strategize." And I said, "Well, this is not fair. I mean, I'm gonna be out of town. Well, you got to figure something out because we need you. You're the project manager. You're the leader. You got to be here." So, long story short, I didn't go, and that was what really ticked off my friends. So the Tom Yao thing it was ignited it, but what really, really catapulted me to really push for a solution to getting out of corporate America was that incident. So that was in 2006. 2007, October 1st, 2007, I was walking into a bank with my EIN number, opening up my business, my first business account, because I figured out what I wanted to do. I started my business as a business consultant, if you will. and I started just the way I was making money back then was I figured out I was always been technical. So I figured out how to play around with the internet and drive traffic and make money. So I was selling other people's courses, uh, business growth courses, whatever I could get my hands on that attracted other people. And so I would, get these small little commissions. And I decided to build my own course on how to build a business online. And I was attracting business owners. So I was telling business owners, hey, you guys can do this yourself. And from 2007 to 2009, that was my business. Really, I was kind of just doing that kind of thing. When 2010 hit, I saw like a little lull in in the amount of people that were subscribing, or not subscribing, resubscribing. So I still had to push hard to get them into the program, and I didn't understand why, because there were some people not really doing it. There were some people paying me monthly, not even showing up to the classes I was teaching them, and it was a little disheartening. Um, so 2010, I spent the whole 2010 pushing more, and I was trying to attract different people and selling different products just to offset the fact that these people weren't renewing in the program. And then I used to have a coaching hour with Frank, and I had at the time, I remember I had like 60 students or something that I had sold this program to, and of the 60, like two or three would show up. So I had a terrible show up ratio, and I couldn't figure out why. And then in late 2010, I'll never forget, there was a guy who, well, his wife owned a nail shop, but he himself owned a glass installation business. And he kept having some issues with his campaign. Sometimes it was working, sometimes it wasn't. Couldn't figure out the consistency of it. And I said, well, listen, if you, if you, if you, just pay me extra here, I'll I'll try to figure it out for you. And he goes, yeah, sure. So I figured it out, told him what he had to do, and he told me, Frank, you know what? What would it cost for you to just do this for me? I mean, not that I have to come to you and this and that. What would it cost? Because I don't like this stuff. I mean, all these changes are always happening, and it's working now, and then all of a sudden this change happens, and I'm too busy. I'm a window installer. That's what I do. This stuff, okay, it's great, and I'm getting business off of it. But every time it changes, it frustrates me. And that's when the light bulb just ding, 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 ding. Hello, Frank. Why don't you change your business model to a done for you business model? And I was like, wow, that's a noble thought. So, and I started doing that. That happened in late 2010. By April 2011, I walked away from corporate America. So from 2000, so from October 2007 um, to April 2011, I was basically working two jobs, my regular job and my business. So, and then I back in 2011 is when I finally walked away. In April 2011, I walked away, and the rest is history. But it was that one thing that changed everything for me, because then I was able to now pitch myself as the go-to person, not now, hey, I can show you how to do it. Because the reality was, which I was kind of shocked of, is that none of these people actually wanted to do this stuff. They didn't want to learn it. They just wanted it done for you. So I mean, I had, like I said, I had some skills with graphics and and websites and all that. So because I knew I needed to at least have that. I've kind of studied what other agencies were doing, and most agencies did at least website development and marketing. It wasn't just the marketing piece. So I added that to my repertoire and just took off from there. And and that's when really and truly I started getting the traction and keeping customers. To this day, I still have my my second, I should say, my second marketing client. That gentleman who I talked to you about with the window repair company, he ended up selling that company to a bigger franchise. And of course, when you go to franchises, that was it. That was his model, and that was his goal anyway. His goal was to sell his business. And I think he talked his wife into doing the same thing with the nail salon business that she had. But anyway, that's how local business marketing solutions came about. It was basically by a lot of struggle. It was like I couldn't believe that I thought everybody would love to actually do this stuff, and when I found out that they did not, it was a shock to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was I was like, how could you not want to do this? But hey, lessons learned. So that in a nutshell is my story. That's how I came here. Since 2011, we have worked with scores of different types of industries, from attorneys to dentists to chiropractors to med spas, home improvement companies, roofing companies, you name it. We use every strategy that I'm going to talk to you about uh, during this podcast series. Um, are strategies that either I myself have done or strategies that I have done for my customers. When I bring in some of my customers, or not customers, some of my partners, it would be talking about some strategies that they do that I don't do, but that you must do as a business owner. So if you are a local business owner, this is the podcast for you. I have a lot of things in store for you. I have a plethora of ideas for you. I can't wait to see you guys implement. Um, Now, one of the things that I've done over the years is I've written two books. Both of them are called the same. Both of them are Seven Steps to Recession Proofing Your Business. Um, and the other one is the revised version. I realized when I first wrote it in 2017, the first one, that some of those strategies are no longer as effective as they could be. So I revised it earlier this year. It was released on the 18th of January of 2020. So it is available on my website. It's www.lbmsllc.com/book. And I will put that in the show notes here. So that's about it. We are looking forward to serving you guys and helping you grow your business, helping you expand your businesses, your local businesses. Local business is the heart of America, folks. That's what it's all about. It's the local business, and that's why I really started this business to help them out. When I switched my model to a done for you model, I was looking for the local business to help them with digital marketing, because it's something that you have to do. It's not a should I do, it's a must have. So that's where we are. So without further ado, this is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and this is episode 1 of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. So until next week and episode 2, I want you guys to have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time. Take care and bye for now.